Hello and welcome to this video on how to play Age of Alchemy. Today we're going to be looking at the combat phase. In this phase, Helga and her local hero here are going to be going first. As such, the local hero with his great weapon is going to declare a charge against this scoundrel armed with a basic weapon. The local hero will now make a regular 6-inch move, same as they would in the move phase, but it must end within base contact of the target model. In this case, it does. So the local hero has successfully charged the scoundrel. In this example, the local hero over here is still wanting to charge the scoundrel with the basic weapon up here. However, using his 6-inch move, even with this break in the wall, he is unable to get into base contact with the scoundrel. As such, he is instead going to use his 6-inch move to charge up to this side of the obstacle here. This will allow him and the scoundrel to fight in combat as normal. However, even if the local hero successfully removes the scoundrel from play by wounding him, then the scoundrel will get to fight back because he is fighting over an obstacle. Now, in this case, we are going to show you how you would roll for attacks in the combat phase. In this example, the local hero has declared that he is going to use his great weapon. He has one attack in this case, and will be hitting on a 3 or more, as that is his combat skill. Let's say in this example that he rolls a 5, which is more than he needs to hit the scoundrel. In the previous video, where we looked at the shooting phase, we looked at scoring a wound. In this case, we are going to look at critical and devastating wounds, where a model may inflict 2 or possibly 3 wounds on a single model at any one time. In this case, the local hero with that great weapon is going to be damage 4 plus 2 modifier for that great weapon gives him a damage of 6. If you subtract the scoundrel's resistance from that, which is a 3, you will be getting a plus 3 to the dice roll. So if the local hero rolls and rolled a 1, that would always be a failure, as detailed in the scoring a wound section. If he were to roll a 2, that would go up to a 5 and only be a single wound. If he were to roll a 3 or a 4, that would be a 6 or 7, and thus a critical wound, and the scoundrel would take 2 wounds. And if you rolled a 5 or 6, then that would be a devastating wound, and the scoundrel would be instantly removed from play, as he would suffer 3 wounds for that. So let's say in this example, the local hero gets really unlucky and rolls a 1, then the scoundrel is able to fight back. In this case, let's say that he rolled a 2 and his combat skill is a 4, so unfortunately he misses and doesn't even hit back against the local hero. In that case, as no wounds have been caused but the local hero charged, he is the winner. So the scoundrel would then need to roll against his intelligence. Now, his intelligence is a 3. If he were to roll a 3 or more, he would successfully disengage from the combat. If he were to roll a 1 or a 2, he would stay there, and the great weapon-armed local hero would get to fight him again without receiving any retaliation attacks from the scoundrel. In this case, let's say the scoundrel rolls a 3, which is more than enough so that he can disengage from combat. He is going to go 2 inches backwards, like so. And then the local hero is going to roll a d6 and get a 2. This means that he may now make a 2-inch move following all the normal restrictions for the move phase, such as not coming within 1 inch of any other model. So with that, he is going to come down to here and then look at threatening hands potentially in a later turn. When fighting over an obstacle, as discussed earlier, the main difference is that the scoundrel, even if he was successfully removed from play by the local hero, would get to attack back in the first round of combat. The other difference is that if the scoundrel was to disengage, like so. The local hero could decide that instead of rolling a dice to see if he can make a move, he may jump over and replace the scoundrel where he was on the barricade, in this case pushing him back from the defences. Here we see that the scoundrel is on this side of the building and the local hero is hiding on this side of the same building. Now, the local hero is not able to draw a line of sight to any part of the scoundrel model. However, he may still charge him. The local hero declares the scoundrel, then rolls against his intelligence. His intelligence is also a 3. In this case, let us go for him rolling a 4. Even though he can't see the scoundrel, he may now make a 6-inch move, which would be 3 inches would get him around here, 2 inches would get him to here, and then another inch would get him into contact with the scoundrel. So he can charge even though at the start of the charge he didn't have direct line of sight. So in this example, the local hero and scoundrel have brought their fight to this walkway with Hans and Helga observing. This is to show what happens when a model suffers a wound when it is within 1 inch of a ledge and may fall. Let's say that the local hero got a wound on the scoundrel, and then on top of that, the scoundrel rolled against their intelligence and got a 2. This is lower than their intelligence score, and as such, they will fall. They will go the shortest possible distance, so they land on the floor or ground below, taking their wound counter with them. They would now take a hit with a damage equal to every inch that they fell, which in this case is 3 to the nearest inch, and they would now roll a d6. Let's say they got a 4, which would be damage 3 for the fall against their resistance 3, and means they would get an additional wound on top of the one they took from the local hero. So that concludes this video on the combat phase, where we looked at charging into combat both normally and over an obstacle, potential scoring of critical and devastating wounds, charging models out of line of sight, and also falling and potential falling damage. Join us next time where we will look at the reactions.